The world has looked on in horror as the devastation in Gaza continues. According to UNICEF, 1.9 million people, that's 9 in 10 of Gaza's population, have been internally displaced. Half of them are children. And as Gazans remain on the move, its healthcare infrastructure has been decimated. In tonight's Prime Focus, we introduce you to one Palestinian family that was able to get out. Thanks to an IDF medic, the Palestinian family is dubbing their guardian angel, who worked to get them into Israel to receive life-saving medical treatment. ABC's Britt Clennett shares their story.
At the Al-Sawana hostel in East Jerusalem, these Gazan cancer patients in remission are in a constant state of limbo, racked with uncertainty. Reem Abu Abaida shows me photos of her children back in Han Yunis, who she hasn't seen since she left just before the war began to receive chemotherapy for stage 2 breast cancer. Now in East Jerusalem, feeling trapped. These patients' medical permits strictly only allow them to stay within the confines of their hotel or hospital. And there's been an added weight of stress since March, when the Israeli government ordered a group of 22 Gazan Palestinians who have completed treatment for life-threatening illnesses, including Reem, to be sent back home.
Reem, what went through your head when you were told you might be sent back to Gaza?
فيش مكان آمن نروح ليه هناك في غزة، يعني بيوتنا راحن، أولادي عايشين في الخيام، كثير خايفة، وأنا إنسانة مريضة، عندي المناعة ضعيفة وما بقدر أعيش في الأماكن هذه.
In the face of intense pressure, the Israeli government is now allowing this kind of mediation process whereby COGAT, that's an Israeli Defense Ministry agency, it's dealing with each Gazan patient on a case-by-case basis, meaning even though there's less chance of them being directly sent back to Gaza, their circumstances remain completely unclear.
Reem, who still requires follow-up hormonal treatment, is one of hundreds of Palestinians who travelled here for the kind of advanced, specialised care that's impossible to receive in Gaza. Hamas's brutal attack on October 7th and Israel's resolute response changed everything. Since then, it's become virtually unheard of for terminally ill or critically injured Gazans to be treated in Jerusalem.
One of our staff members went to Jerusalem. She spoke with the family
Guy
members.
Shalev, director of Physicians for Human Rights Israel, the NGO fighting against the government's push to deport them, shows me a detailed breakdown of each patient's case they've been tracking.
She's a resident of Gaza that was injured today because of a bombing in her left eye. To our understanding, she was released to Jerusalem, to the eye hospital in Jerusalem, St. John.
As we've been looking into these deportation cases, one family story has really stuck out. It's a family in northern Gaza who were critically injured about a month into the war in northern Gaza in an IDF attack. Now, they were taken out of northern Gaza to a hospital in Israel, to another hospital in Israel, and then eventually here at this hospital in East Jerusalem, and we want to hear their story. Assalamu alaikum. Marhaba.
Meeting this family from Bet Lahia, northern Gaza, we couldn't have known how remarkable the last 7 months have been.
Where you've been living.
How, they tell me, they got out of Gaza when so many others do not. How they became split from their father and may never see him again. And how on the morning of November 23rd, this family stared death in the face, just as they were taking shelter at Wassam's brother's house after their own house was obliterated.
What was it like that day that you guys left Gaza? What happened?
يضرب رصاص وقنابل على بيته وعلى حيطانه ويدخل عنا الرصاص والقنابل. دخلوا كلهم بيجي 100 جندي حطوا السلاح في روسنا وفي روس اولادي الصغار وزوجي وراس وقالوا لنا ارفعوا ايديكم لما لقونا طيبين ومش ميتين. انا كنت اغمى علي قمت لقيت وجهي بنزف دم زي حنفيه الدم. قمت لقيت الصاله ملانه جنود. التمست أكتر ولقيت حاطين السلاح في روسنا والتمست كلها ملانة فيش وسعة.
Then, in those tense, critical few seconds, her family's entire fate changed. Wassem Halabi describes how a medic with the IDF starts screaming at the soldiers to put their guns down.
ساعتها طلعتهم من عنا بعد ما كانوا آخر لحظة كانوا بدهم يقتلونا. آخر لحظة نجتنا.
Medical reports show the extent of their injuries from explosions that day. Shrapnel piercing through Wassam's eye, her teenage daughter with abrasions from debris, and the father with multiple puncture wounds and fractures in his spine. What comes next is virtually unheard of. From the uncle's house, the medic loads Wissem and the children into an armoured vehicle and gets them out of Gaza, travelling along a road by sea, taken to 2 hospitals in Israel, ending up at St. John's in East Jerusalem. The father, who was unconscious, becomes separated after he's taken to a different hospital for surgery and eventually to Makassar Hospital. For a month after that day, they have no idea that they are less than 1.5 miles away from each other in East Jerusalem.
حسبناه احنا متوفي وهو كان نفس الشيء، كان هو يعيط علينا ويبكي علينا، حسبنا 200 متوفي. بعد فترة بعد شهر زمان اجى ممرض من مستشفى تبعته اللي هو فيها موجود، واجى يومها مع مريض. اللي هو بيجيبوا سيرتنا قدامه، اللي هو بقول والله عندنا مريض، بيسأل بقول والله ما أنا عارف عن عائلتي 200 جابوهم ما جابوهم، مش أبصر وين ودوهم، مش عارفين.
But due to the strict rules applied to Palestinians here on medical permits, the family say they aren't allowed to visit their father in person.
That family has been through hell, and now they can't even leave this hospital to see their dad, who is just around the corner.
When a patient gets a permit to leave the Gaza Strip, they can only stay in the premises of the hospital. So you'd see families of patients that are just stuck there for sometimes for months, going through very hard and very long treatments, and they're basically illegal if they leave the hospital and they risk being arrested. And this whole system is part of a larger kind of bureaucratic mechanism of the permit regime that really controls every movement of Palestinians.
When asked about the efforts to deport the Palestinian patients, the IDF, COGAT and the Israeli government told us they do not comment on ongoing court cases. Inside the Knesset, I meet Simcha Rotman of the right-wing Zionism Party, who serves as the chair of the Knesset's Constitution, Law and Justice Committee. He's been advocating for the deportations.
NGOs say that, you know, how can you consciously send these people back to their deaths in Gaza, where there's no sanitation, where the health system has completely collapsed. What do you say to that?
It's not that sending someone to Gaza is a death sentence, but in a war, you must take care of your own people.
What's your view on this medic who helped these Gazans who were critically injured get through the border
I think
to Israel?
To help them is a good thing. To bring them to East Jerusalem is a very bad idea.
Why?
Because they will be the hotbed for the next attack on Jews in Israel.
You really think that they are a source of terror?
I don't think. I think after October 7th, that's reality. It's not about what I think.
If you see a 9-year-old or a 78 cancer patient or an 82-year-old that cannot even see properly or move by himself as a terrorist, I think it shows a lot about what every Palestinian is basically considered as a terrorist.
Back in East Jerusalem, the family has a message for the medic who helped save them.
كأنها ملاك هي من السماء جيانا، وبشكرها كتير كتير اللي نجت أولادي ونجتنا وأسعفتنا، عملت فينا خير هيك. كتير أنا بأيد على العمل الخيري وبحب اللي بيعملوا خير كلهم، وبشجعهم دائما كل الناس هيك تكون زيها، ما تكونش تاعت عنف وتاعون قتل وتاعون حرب.
Suddenly, we get word that authorities are permitting the family to visit their father after 4 difficult months apart. Inside, a surprise reunion. Despite the trauma of the recent past and the profound unknowns that lie ahead for this family, for now, a moment of joy.